Hello and welcome. I'm Brenda Edwards, and this is recording to introduce you to myself and the way that I work so that when you're having your session, you can get the most out of it. And so I do use the tarot cards. I don't need them, but I like using them. So I use the tarot cards, and I do also do bringing people through, loved ones from the other side. It is important for me to give you as much as I can. So when you book a session, I wanted to give you this video as a way for you to understand how I work. Initially, what happens is if you're coming in person, and you will shuffle the cards, but right now we're in the middle of COVID, so I'm only doing sessions that are over the phone or also FaceTime or Zoom. And so you would come in and you would shuffle the cards, and after you shuffle the cards, or if I was doing it remotely with you, which there's no problem with, we tune into people based on their energy and their name, sometimes their date of birth, and then I toss the cards out. I'm also going to ask you for your birth date because I do a little with numerology, and what I do is I look at what number you're born under that refers back to the tarot cards. And so what I'm doing is I'm giving you information about why you're here in this lifetime. What's most important for you to get as the lessons and learnings of this lifetime. And then I look at every year, people have a theme that changes yearly, even though the card number that you're born under stays the same your entire life. You will change yearly with the theme of what's most important. The year theme runs for the normal year. That's how I do it, from January through the end of December. And so each year it will change. I will explain to you what's most important for you to get that year. What is the lesson of that year? What's the gift of that year? That's how I start. And then I lay all the cards out and I do a general reading first. What I mean by that is I do a little of this and a little of that. That's how I do it. So I might tell you a little bit about your relationship, a little bit about healing, a little bit about health. And that is just to do a particular layout for what's most important at that time. Then don't worry. Often people will say to me, well, wait, I want to ask them questions about my relationship. If I've brought some information through about your relationship in the general reading, we will then move, because even if you're just doing a half an hour, say the general reading takes 5 minutes and the doing your numbers take 5 minutes, we still have 20 minutes to dive into all these sections. And so as an example, if you've never had a reading before, you might want to ask about relationship, either a partner coming in or your existing relationship, or what do I need to do to bring in a relationship. Also, we look at areas of health, family. This is Ben, by the way, and if you come in person, you will remember Ben. Spirituality, where are you in that? Career or life purpose, any of these are topics you can ask about, or all of them. What I would say, and then the reason why I really wanted to do this, is that I wanted to tell you how to best prepare. So before I go into that, at the end of, when we have about 5 minutes left, I use some other decks that have printing on them to pull cards. So there might be an angel card deck or whatever, and I will give you whatever those say on it from 3 different decks, which will kind of sum up the whole reading that I've just done for you. And it's always great to have that feedback, because when I'm looking at these cards, I'm getting information this way. And then when I lay out the final cards at the end, you're going to have validation for what I just said here. So best way to prepare. Usually what I say is have a couple of areas that are most important to you. And tell me that right up front. that he's got to get so close to Mama here. Um, Tell me right up front that, most importantly is my career and my love life. Because not that it not that it means you won't have any other thing coming up about health or whatever, but the universe, spirit, as I say, your guides and angels and guardians, they may want you to know something that has nothing to do with your main topic. And that will come out in some of the general. But if you come in and say, I really, really want to know about my career and moving forward, then before we end, I make sure we have enough time to go through that. And questions are great. How to get the best out of your reading. When people come in and they're like, I don't know, just tell me whatever you see. That is not the best way to go through a reading, because it could be something that you don't really care about. Like, oh, move on. I don't care about my grandmother or whoever wants to come through, okay? You want to come in with a plan. And so, and this is just how I do it. So, and if you don't want to do any of this, that's fine too. But the more direct you are, the more direct the answers you're going to get. So if you come in and say you want to meet somebody and your question is, what do I need to do or change in order for me to meet the love of my life? That's a great question. And it's going to show me, is there somebody coming in my love life anytime soon? That's a question. Am I in the right career? Is there something I need to do to change my attitude around my sister? Whatever it is, but come up. I love it when people come in person and they have questions written out. I love that. And if the question isn't quite right, to get the best answer, I might suggest that it be reworded a little bit. But we're working together. It's a symbiotic relationship. Okay? So, loved ones. When you want to talk to a loved one, how this works for me, and this is just how I work, is that people say, well, can you bring my grandmother Sophie through? I don't know. I don't know until I'm in the energies. And if there's somebody you want to talk to, I work best if you say, I would like to do some mediumship before the end of my half hour or hour, whatever it is. Typically, if you have a lot you want to do, there is a combination package I have for that, where you can do a little of both. But I always tell people I'll give it my best shot. I don't guarantee that I can bring through Grandmother Sophie, but Uncle Ralph might want to come through. And the worst thing you can do is try to dismiss someone. Imagine that you got all dressed up and wanted to see somebody, and somebody came to your house and you opened the door and said, and slammed the door on them. We need to be respectful of the spirit world. And so it's very important that you respect that part, okay? So if somebody comes through, and one of the things that really drives me crazy is if somebody comes through that never met you physically, say your great grandmother, but she has a message for you or wants to tell you something, she's in your lineage, don't dismiss it and say, oh, I'm not interested in talking to her. She spent this time and set this time up for a reason, and you never know what's going to come through. So we have our hopes that I want to talk to Grandmother Sophie, but I'm going to open the door to who would like to come through to talk to me. Okay? 9 out of 10 times I can connect with whoever it is. But one thing that's very important, and this is just how I work again, is that if somebody has just recently passed, I usually like to give it a little while. Like, I don't want to be trying to contact them the same week that they died, just so you know, because I don't want to pull on them. They're still trying to make peace with their transition, and they may be under the angel's care until they're able to put things to rest or have their questions answered or whatever. And so I don't want to be pulling on them back down here when they're trying to, figure things out and be at peace. So I can try, You know, if it's been a month or so, I will try. And if they're okay with coming through, wonderful. If they're not, I might tell you to check back in the future. So basically, that's how I work, and this is how to best prepare for your reading. And I aim to please. I have a lot of nurturing, wonderful qualities that people tell me. I have a lot of compassion. So I also do healing work, and I try to bring healing to everything I do. So even though I certainly do readings, I also offer healings. And if you are coming in for a healing, the best thing you can do to prepare is to be open. Just be open to what could happen. And, you know, we call ourselves healers, but of course it's the divine that's healing. But if we're a clear channel, we can hook you up and bring in that energy. So this is important. So I guess that's enough information for today. And I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this to be best prepared for your reading with me. And I thank you for taking the time. Bye.